All right, welcome everybody to the closing bell chart chat. We're going to be talking about today's number one penny stock. Excuse me. And that is Mentis Life Sciences, NMLSF, US, Nova in Canada. And this stock is today massive volume. Let's take a look. Where are we right now? Yeah, amazing volume. Now, a lot of you are thinking, okay, the stock has basically tripled. That's right. Nova has tripled in the last 5 days, essentially. I mean, the stock was, I don't know, it was 2 cents, 3 cents the other day. Today, it hit over 8.5 cents. So almost a triple. Actually, could be technically a triple. And some people are thinking, oh, wow, is this the top? Is this it? I mean, is this it? So let's discuss this, and let's look at it through the lens of my number one best-selling book, TenBagger Blueprint. Pick this up on Amazon. Get it on pre-order. We got the paperbacks coming out in a little bit. You can get it. You can pre-order Kindle right now. So paperbacks coming soon. But we talk about a couple of interesting things. So there's an interesting phenomenon. I want to talk about the technical part first, which is the trend is your friend. What happens with breakout stocks? Okay, so in the book, I use the example because some people are always ask, okay, is it too late? Is it too late to jump on, this potential moon rocket, right? When is it too late to potentially jump on board a stock that could be going, to the moon, right? The reality is this, and in my book, I talk about a guy, Nicholas Darvas, famous trader, speculator back in the day, in the 60s, I think it was. He wrote a book called, I forgot the name of the book. In my book, I do mention it. And he had an interesting phenomenon, right? This guy was basically like, he didn't know anything about stocks. The guy was like a Hungarian, excuse me, he was like a war refugee. I think he was a professional ballet dancer, ballroom dancer. He knew nothing about stocks, right? I think he knew about ballroom dancing and picking up women. That was his specialty, right? But this guy essentially discovered something fascinating. Stocks that hit new 52-week highs, stocks that hit new highs tended to continue going even higher. And the stocks that were at lows, whatever, those were not bargains. The money is made when stocks break out. And in fact, the smart money, if you look at it, the smart money buys stocks on breakouts. They're not bottom feeders. They're not buying at the bottom, whatever it is. No, they would rather buy a stock. For example, let's use Mentis. I'm just using this as an example. I'm not saying that, you should buy or sell, whatever. But if somebody was a money manager, somebody was a big investor, what point would they be buying Nova? Would they have bought it last week when it was 2 cents, 3 cents? Absolutely not. No. They will be buying Nova when it broke out of the 50 or the 200-day moving average, which it did actually yesterday and maybe even today on the follow-through. Now is the time when actually it makes sense to actually buy a stock for these guys. Why is that? Very simple. Time is money. Time is money, right? You don't want to buy a stock that's going nowhere. When a stock breaks out of this moving average like we see right now, the trend will generally continue. It's a phenomenon. It's a natural phenomenon. No one has been able to explain it. But if you look at the chart, every time it's broken out of this 50 and the 200-day moving average, it's had multi-bagger moves, multi-baggers, right? So why is that? I don't know. It's almost like, you go to a craps table in Las Vegas. Why is sometimes, the table becomes hot and it goes for a streak? Okay, so this is fascinating. These streaks, there is no scientific explanation, but things run in streaks. Whether it's good luck, bad luck, whatever it is, runs in streaks. Nobody can explain it. It's, stocks, same way. Once they break out, the trend tends to continue. The first thing I learned when I got started in the commodity futures business back in the day, the first thing they told you is, hey, the trend is your friend. The trend is your friend. So now the trend is our friend with Mentis. Now the question people are asking is, what is the upside? The stock is 8 cents today. Has it topped out because it's already tripled? No. The answer is this, actually. We are right now, we got a big, beautiful runway in the stock. If you look at this, there's actually a massive runway. How big is the runway? We'll take a look. I got the chart here for you. This is a 3-year, 4-year chart. You can see where the stock has been. It's been as high as $4 in the past. It's been as high as 50 cents just 2 years ago. So that's pretty recent. 50 cent was pretty recently, right? So we know that potentially we could get to 50 cents, potentially, right? No advice, no price representation, but because it's been there, right? And I talk about this again. It's in the book, TenBagger Blueprint. Pick it up on Amazon. You know, these stocks have a DNA. It's a DNA. So if they've had big wins in the past, it makes it a lot more easier and likely for them to return to those old highs. I don't know. I can't articulate the reason. It's just like these streaks. Sometimes things run hot and cold, but stocks tend to like to go back. So now I do think we probably will run into a little bit of a consolidation in that 10, 12 cent range, which is right over here, which is where we were back in March, April. We could consolidate there for a little bit. I would love to see the stock consolidate there for like a couple of weeks, shake out, some of the hot money, some of the low life degenerate day traders. It might consolidate in that range, but I think it's more likely that, I think so. I think it's gonna consolidate there and then continue going on to 50 cents in the short term, right? My ultimate target on the stock, I do believe we have a shot of going to $1. I really believe $1. Now, again, some of you guys think, oh, this guy's a low life promoter. He's just, you know what? I said the same thing about other stocks in the past. And you know what? It happened. It happened with CBDT. Remember I told you guys it was going to 50 cents when it was a nickel? It went to 50 cents. Then it went to $1, right? And when it was 50 cents, I said it was going to break out to $2 potentially, right? I don't know why, but it's the momentum, right? I said the same thing about PKK. PKK, if anybody remembers, that's a stock we introduced at 50 cents, no, 35 cents. It went to 70 cents post split. So you got to, because they had a split. So it's really 70 cents and it went to $14. It was a 20 bagger. Okay. 20 bagger. And for the longest time, I was saying it's going to break out. It's going to break out. And sure enough, it did finally break out. Nobody believed it, by the way. When we introduced CBDT, PKK, nobody believed those stocks. One of them went up 5,000%. That's CBDT. One went up 2,000%. That's PKK. And by the way, the last biotech stock I did, that's similar to Nova Mentis was Cytodyne. It went up 2,000%. How about another one? How about Fubo? That's in the New York Stock Exchange. Yeah, I'm not just doing penny stocks, right? So Fubo went to over $60 18 months ago, right? Bottom line is this. I believe we have a very clear shot. We have a window. I'm going to talk about the fundamentals. Great question. Great comment, Jason. I'm going to talk about the fundamentals in just a second, but I want to talk about the technical picture because the technical picture is very important. Again, the charts don't lie. The fundamentals, I could tell you about fundamentals. The company could tell you, it's whatever, right? The charts are absolute science. So when a stock breaks out of the 50-day moving average, that's pure science. MACD is bullish. We broke out of the 50-week moving average, the 50-week moving average. The U.S. volume yesterday was insane, over 1 million shares. Today, it's a little bit less, right? But let me tell you, big volume. Today, the Canadians are taking over today. So the Canadian volume is bigger today. It's over 800,000. We might hit 1 million shares. The U.S. is about 400,000, right? So the point is this. There's something I talk about in the book called the TenBagger window. And that brings us to what Jason wants to hear. He wants to hear about the fundamentals. And that's the TenBagger window. So in the book, TenBagger Blueprint, I mentioned an interesting phenomenon with these stocks, right? You look at any stock, any chart, and there is this, usually these stocks are going nowhere. And then all of a sudden there's this big spike. How about this? How about, let's take a look at Zoom. Use that as an example, right? So Zoom is a stock that was going nowhere for, a couple of years, right? All of a sudden, January of 2020, it goes up by a factor of almost a 10x, right? Now, Zoom, people are saying, oh, well, the Zoom is, is a pandemic, whatever it is. Yeah, well, what do you think the TenBagger window is, right? And by the way, Zoom now is basically dead, whatever it is, it's going nowhere. But the TenBagger window is essentially, it's a moment where a stock, things line up, the stars align, all the stars align, where a stock can have a massive run. What are those factors? I talk about it in the book, in the TenBagger blueprint. Some of them could be the theme, which what happened with the Zoom. Some of them could be the market, which was a little bit of the Zoom, right? But mostly it's the catalysts, which really is the Zoom, the catalysts. The theme, the catalysts, the technicals, everything lines up. And, the stocks can have a very big run in a very short window of time. And I believe that is exactly what is happening with Nova Mentis. So let's talk about the catalysts, right? The catalysts for Nova Mentis are the clinical trials, right? The clinical trials that they're going into for phase 2A clinical trials from Health Canada for psilocybin, the microdose treatment, the microdose therapeutic to treat Fragile X / autism, right? So by the way, watch that video we did with Dr. Marvin, and he was very specific. Why did they choose this real niche, Fragile X? You guys haven't even heard of it. Well, they have an orphan drug designation from the FDA, right? Which is very, very valuable, right? You don't see any companies with a 10 million market cap that have an orphan drug designation for a potential drug, right? You don't see that. This is the real deal. You got a lot of these. By the way, Nova Mentis is leading the psychedelic space. You see a couple of these Fugazi mushroom stocks rising today. By the way, those stocks, they're all bullshit pump and dumps. Ignore those stocks. The only real company in the psychedelic space is Nova Mentis. I mean, there's some bigger ones, whatever they're doing, R&D, whatever. Okay, I don't really care. I think the one that has the clearest shot of getting to commercialization, getting to market, Nova Mentis. So why did the guy, this is Doc, he's got years, decades. I mean, this guy's been around. He's gotten drugs through the FDA process, approved, commercialized. Why did he pick Fragile X? Because it's going to be the easiest one where they could prove that this thing works. Efficacy, safety and efficacy. Once they get approval, the idea is to expand the label to autism, then maybe to other neurological disorders, maybe dementia, maybe Parkinson's, et cetera, maybe memory, right? Do you see what's happening? All of a sudden, you get the blue sky. Excuse me. It's no longer, a $1 billion market. Now it's a $50 billion market potentially that they're addressing with the microdose therapeutic. So that is, that's the possibilities. So the idea is this. The TenBagger window, which is where Nova is right now, what is it? Number one, let's talk about it. What do they have going on? The technicals are amazing. The charts, double bottom, break it up the moving average, the 50-week moving average, daily, 200, etc. Big double bottom. So I love the technicals. Fundamentals. They got massive catalysts. They got this phase 2A trial that could totally reprice the stock. Because again, look at this as Warren Buffett would analyze this, right? How would Warren Buffett look at this? He'd look at it, okay, I'm buying a business. I'm paying $10 million for this business. Now, the peer group, the comps, typically companies that have what Nova has with this type of stuff could be going for 50, 100 million on the low end, right? 50 to 100 million. So what does that give you? That gives you, Jason, what that does, it gives you a built-in profit. It gives you a built-in, it's an arbitrage because you're buying it at 10 million. The reality is it's worth 50 million based on the comps, based on the peer group, based on biotech fundamentals. All you got to do is be patient, wait for the company to hit the milestones, for more eyeballs to discover the stock, which is, by the way, what we're doing, what the promotion part is. And the valuation gap closes. So the valuation gap between 10 million and 50 million can close very quickly. That is basically how the stock can get to about 50 cents. Now, to get to $1, Depends how enthusiastic the market is going to be. How good the data is. Now they have incredible preclinical data, right? With the animal model, they have incredible data. But that stuff doesn't matter. What matters is what are the clinical trials going to show. So they're going to be starting as Jason wants to know about the fundamentals. Jason, please watch the video with Dr. Marvin. He explains the fundamentals a lot better than I do because he's a lot smarter than I am. I'm just a paid stock promoter. That guy's chief medical officer, surgeon, decades of experience, ran a New York Stock Exchange biotech company, went up 50x. So this guy's been there and done it. Now, that's another thing you want to look at. You want to look at companies which have a team. Here's a guy who's been there and done it. He's gotten drugs commercialized. He's had a 50 bagger before. You got this guy, Derek Avani, who's an insider. He's been loading up on the stock. Why is he buying the stock? He also had a 100 bagger. He ran a cannabis company that went up like 100x or something. So these guys know something. Now, the runway look at this chart. The runway is huge. We got a huge runway. If the stock went to $1 tomorrow, I mean, that would be crazy. But it's not going to go to $1 tomorrow. But this chart, you got a massive base. You got a massive technical base where, you know what? If it went to $1, went to $2, it's not crazy. Even if this thing goes to $2, the fundamentals actually could support $2. I know it sounds crazy, right? Because you think, oh my God, it's almost a 50 bagger from here. Well, we've had 50 baggers before, right? But the difference with this one is this one could actually support it. Because how can this stock go to $2? What would make it go to $2? Basically, if they showed efficacy in the phase 2A clinical trial for Fragile X, if they showed, hey, this thing really is, it meets the endpoints. These guys are, it's reducing symptoms or whatever it is, whatever endpoints they've chosen. That all of a sudden tells the market, wow, this may have other possibilities. This could be useful for, again, it's all neurological based. Maybe it could be good for Alzheimer's, maybe Parkinson's, memory, whatever, right? But even just with a Fragile X, with autism, I mean, an autism therapeutic is a multi-billion-dollar market. If something can be a therapeutic that can treat autism, you're talking about a multi-billion-dollar market. Excuse me. So I wish the microdose could treat my dry throat all of a sudden. I would take one of these mushrooms. I'd actually eat one of these mushrooms. But look, guys, this if they can show some efficacy that's coming up, and again, you're going to know in a couple of weeks. It's not going to be a year. The data, once they get approval to go ahead with the clinical trial, it could be, the green light might come in 2 weeks. It might come in a month. Could take a month, whatever. But they have the application in, right? It's the real deal. You don't see these other companies doing it, right? So not only they have an application, they got all the capsules ready. I mean, these guys have crossed the I's and dotted the T's, or vice versa, right? So they've done it. Again, you got guys who have done this before. That's why this thing is, we think this is going to have this is going to get a quick, we're going to get a green light pretty quickly. Now, here's the, excuse me, here's the amazing thing. Again, if they get some good data, if they show good data in that clinical trial, the stock could go to $1. That would give it 100 million valuation. Here's the other thing I want to talk about, which I talk about in the TenBagger blueprint. There's something I call an asymmetric setup. What is an asymmetric setup? An asymmetric setup is, most investors, they go into these stocks like amateurs. They buy a stock like, hey, I'm going to double my money. I'm going to in and out, whatever. No. The way to analyze a stock is like Warren Buffett. Like, you want to have a situation where your risk reward is like 100 to 1. Like, your risk might be a couple pennies and the upside could be a couple dollars. Now, in theory, let's analyze Nova Mentis risk reward. Now, You got support coming in here. I'm looking at the Canadian chart. Actually, this is the US chart. You got support at roughly 4.5 cents. That's the 200-day moving average. And also the 3 cents. I would say 4 cents is kind of a support level in the stock. Pretty good support. So if you buy the stock right here, your risk is about 2 cents. You're risking 2 cents because you got a lot of support in the 4-cent range. Again, follow the math. You're risking 2 pennies. What's the upside? Potentially, again, I'm not saying it's going there. Let's say it only goes to this number here. Let's say it goes to 50 cents. Let's say the stock goes to 50 cents. That's a 50 million market cap. Very cheap still, by the way. Very cheap for a phase 2 company. That's a 25 to 1, right? You're risking 2 pennies and your upside is 50 cents. So actually, no, it's better. So you're risking 2 cents to make 48 cents. You're risking 2 cents to make 48 cents. That's a really good risk-reward ratio. That's what I call an asymmetric setup, and that is the point of our next super stocks. Again, check out my book, TenBagger Blueprint, on Amazon. Yeah, look. Excuse me. Yeah, basically, look, they have been crossing the dots and, dotting the I's or whatever, crossing the T's, dotting the, whatever it is. Yeah, they've been, and that's what took them a little bit longer because we were expecting this where we are now. We were expecting this in August, right? So it's taken them a little bit longer, right? They wanted to get the stability studies for the capsules. They wanted to get the formulations. Those things took a little bit of time, right? They got to get the company to actually run the clinical trial, right? They got to, start recruiting patients soon. So they've basically, if you watched the video yesterday, yeah, they've done everything to get things lined up. And you're absolutely right. The Health Canada is the catalyst. That's the catalyst that the market is waiting for. Now, I think what happens is, depending how long it takes to announce it, though, if it happens in the next few weeks, I think we could run to 15 cents, maybe even higher. Then it could consolidate. But, the charts are very bullish. So you know what? I'm taking a flyer and I'm going to make a speculation by saying, you know what? The chart is basically, again, the charts tell you the truth in advance in any market, bullish, bearish, whatever, right? The charts are telling us that something good can come out of this. That's what the charts are telling me. Have you noticed that a lot of times the charts will start turning down before, maybe a month or two before a company has bad news? Have you noticed that? It's a phenomenon, right? It's a phenomenon. And usually, and the opposite also, right? This charts start moving up. So why is the chart moving up? The market must know something that we don't. The market must know that these guys could have good data. That could be what the market is telling us. I mean, I don't know how it works. It's like a whole, fourth dimensional type of thing. I mean, maybe it's a sign from God. I mean, I don't know what this is, how these charts do this, but it's the way it works. I mean, they tell you the truth in advance. So absolutely, I believe that the Health Canada is going to be the catalyst. That's the short-term catalyst. The big catalyst is the good data, because, hey, if they don't have good data, then, hey, if they don't have good data, it's going to go to, back to 4 cents or 3 cents, okay? So, and then they could always come back and say, hey, we're going to try a different program. But here's what I believe is going to happen. My opinion, I'm taking a wild guess. I'm going to make a wild guess here. By the way, this is not official company information. I'm talking purely my opinion. By the way, also, I'm actually doing this for free. I'm actually a big shareholder at this point. We were doing PR for them, but that's expired a couple of months ago. So I'm actually doing free work. I'm just here to make the stock go up because I own a bunch of it. And I think it's going to go to $1. So I'm here to make a lot of money. I'm not here to do this to make a nickel. I'm here to make, some serious cash. I believe what's going to happen is they go into phase 2A trials, they get some good data, and either as they get very close to the end point or afterward, but they're going to have companies interested in buying them out. We see this happen in the mining business. You Canadian guys who trade the junior mining stocks, you understand how this works, right? These biotech companies are the same way, just like these exploration companies, right? When they start drilling in the ground, none of these guys are going to go into production. No, what they do is, they buy a property, right, which has high potential. They do some geological work to, get closer to proving that there's an economically viable resource. And then all of a sudden they go from something that's worth, maybe $1 million, could be worth $100 million. And then they sell that to a producer. And the producer will spend, $1 billion and 5 years to bring it to production. Same thing with biotech. These guys are not going to spend, $50 million to bring this to commercialization. What they're most likely going to do is, I believe they're talking to people right now. We kind of got a hint from that in yesterday's interview. I think a hint. He didn't say anything, but it's a hint. You kind of read between the lines, right? That's the beauty of our CEO interviews. It's like legal inside information. I think what's going to happen is they get some way halfway through the trial. Somebody comes to them. They're probably going back and forth with a couple of guys right now who are, they're in conversations probably. And one of these guys buys them out for maybe 100 million, 50 million, 100 million. Even if it was only 50 million, that would be 50 cents a share. 100 million, I think, is more of a reasonable price. And 100 million, it makes sense to a pharma company or a biotech company because now they can say, hey, we have a psilocybin program for autism. That increases their shareholder value. So if they pay 100 million for this, that might boost their stock price by 500 million, right? Even if it's 300 million, it's worth it. And if the thing works, they get $1 billion drug. So would you pay 100 million to get $1 billion drug? I would. I mean, these guys want to make 10x just like you do. These pharma companies, these biotech companies. Again, we've seen this before. No, that's not me. No, I'm going to be very candid with you. I'll be straight up with you. Look, I look at these stocks. Look, I bought the private placement, right? So I'm in it. When I go into these things, I'm in it to make at least a TenBagger, or more. Otherwise, it's not worth it because it's high risk, right? So to me, I'm in it for at least 50 cents. I mean, I don't think I would sell it even if it went to a quarter because, even though I'd be up a lot, I think we got a shot at 50 cents. I mean, that's what I'm looking for. So, yeah, could this go to $1 or more? Potentially. I think there's enough there. Oh, look at this. A millionaire day in Canada. I'm not even watching this, so we got 1 million shares. It's amazing. It's amazing. Alex, 100% right. Yes, paid pumper. That is what I do. And by the way, this is part of, read my book, TenBagger Blueprint. Why is it so important to have a high quality paid pumper, not just any paid pumper? Because there's a lot of paid pumpers. You want to have the best. That's me. I mean, not just me saying it. There's a track record. There's a decades track record. Why? Because, we bring a lot of eyeballs to the stock, right? Imagine this. If we weren't around, a guy like you wouldn't even know that this company existed, right? So any news that a company would put out would fall on deaf ears. Now, because we're getting more and more eyeballs, and we're getting a lot. By the way, you should know, let me tell you, we're getting started, my friend. We haven't even started yet. Our U.S. campaign, I'm doing this like as a freebie, basically. It's going full blast. Why do you think we saw that massive U.S. volume? Because the Canadian market is basically busted. It's like this stock, the main market for this is in Canada. Our focus is the U.S. market. We're going to get a lot of U.S. investors into this. And as they see milestones, as they see the company achieve milestones and get into phase 2, the stock is going to go up. And you know what they're going to do? The people who are watching it, they're going to buy at higher prices when the stock moves. Again, I'm not saying it's going to go higher. I'm not making representations about price, but the fact is this. If this company goes into, they start the trial, they get the good data, the stock will be higher, the valuation is higher. That's the fundamentals, right? So all those people on the sidelines, like Aki, Alex, haters and doubters, we need guys like that because those guys are going to become the buyers. Haters are just misplaced fans. They become buyers. We need guys like Ake because we need somebody to be buying stock at 25 cents, at 50 cents, and at $1, which is where I'll be getting out. And Ake will be buying, and then he'll say that he's a bag holder. So the reality is this. Yeah, this is a very valuable. Yeah, so yeah, this is promotion. It's a legitimate. Yeah, what we're doing is we're giving, we're getting the information out. Yeah, there we go. Yes. Yes, Robbie, thank you. Yeah, so CBDT, there you go. Stock went from a nickel to $2.50. A lot of people made a lot of money, millions and millions of dollars. I think this guy Remy made a lot of money also. I'm telling you, I got like so many thank you notes. I mean, people don't usually do that, right? Somebody mail you, I don't know, a box of $200 worth of cigars or whatever. Because look, people made millions and millions of dollars. By the way, that is a valid point. TBP, very valid point. By the way, TBP, I think that tripled. I think that tripled when we introduced it. I think it was a triple. I think it was a triple. Yeah. So look, I don't tell you when to buy or when to sell. TBP was a triple, but I think there's a vast difference in their clinical programs, in their approaches. And again, this is the business of public venture capital. Read my book, TenBagger Blueprint on Amazon. I talk about it. The business of venture capital works like this. If you want to have 10-bagger stocks, which everybody wants to have, everybody wants to have a 50-bagger like CBDT, right? You want to have a 50-bagger, right? Well, look, there's a price to pay for everything. There's a price to pay. There's nothing is free. Not even love is free, okay? Everything you got to pay for, right? CBDT, if you want to have a 50-bagger, the price for 50 baggers is you're going to have some losers. So venture capital model is you put money to 10 companies. 2 of them will go to the moon, or 1 of them will go to the moon. 5 of them will go to zero. 5 will go to zero. A couple of them will be maybe up a little bit, whatever, but you're going to make your money on those 1 or 2 stocks that moon, that go up 10x, 20x, and pay for the whole portfolio. At the end of the day, you're going to have a high double-digit return. That's the way it works. Yes. So that was a stock. Okay. So TBP, thank you for bringing it up, Aki. Yeah, that stock was basically a 4x. And yeah, management did look, that stock was going to go to $1. It was well on its way. Management did a stupid financing, which they were told by multiple people not to do because there's a short squeeze happening. Yes, CBDT, another example. CBDT, I mean, Jason, were you in CBDT? I mean, that stock, again, now here's the thing. They had a good story at the right time. The management, let's just say, didn't execute. They could have. I mean, they could have raised capital at $2, at $1.50. They could have raised a bunch of money. They could have bought real businesses, whatever. Look, I'm not going to beat a dead horse or whatever. And I'm here to focus on the positive. I want to be positive because everybody wants to be positive these days, right? Everybody wants to be, nobody likes negativity, right? Everybody wants positivity. So let's focus on the positive. So yeah, the reality is this company, Nova, is very similar to, CBDT, to TBP. Both of those stocks did very, very well early on. Now, if Nova can go to 50 cents, that would be quite nice. I think there's a real path to get there. How we doing here in the U.S.? How do we close today in Canada? 8 cents. There we go. Look at this. What was the volume? Oh, almost 1 million. Oh, so it's probably a little over 1 million with everything, right? So 8 cents. Closing midpoint in the highs. Yeah, okay. I like that. We pulled back a little bit. I would have liked to see the stock. Oh, this is actually a very nice setup for tomorrow. Look at this. On the 30-minute chart, we got a pennant forming, so we could see a big breakout tomorrow. Normally I don't even look at these 1-hour charts because before this week, the stock was so thinly traded, there wasn't enough data there. Now, look at this. We got some real action. This is amazing. Yeah. So this thing is looks like it's ready to go. I think tomorrow we could see a massive breakout in Nova Mentis. It's pretty interesting. The market had a bit of a pullback right now. Yeah, Dow, Nasdaq. Yeah. Look, I think here's what's interesting. No matter what's going on with the overall big theme, companies like Nova Mentis, which are drug discovery companies, they basically, it could be a worst bear market ever, and these stocks can go up 10x. Why? Because everybody needs health. Yeah, I wish they had a microdose for a dry throat. I just, my throat went completely dry. But look at this beautiful pennant. This is actually quite an amazing pennant formation. I mean, tomorrow this thing could explode. I think basically, if you didn't buy the stock today, you're gonna have to pay a lot more money in the next couple of days if you want to get it. So, yeah, this thing looks like it's ready to explode. This is a pennant formation. Incredible, incredible. And buying, look at this nice volume coming in today. We're gonna probably be, so my data is delayed, but yeah, probably 800,000 shares US. So we're seeing right now the highest volume that this thing has ever had in the US. And that's it, man. The US market is coming in. They're discovering the stock. You know what else I love about the stock? If you read my book, TenBagger Blueprint, you would know why I'm so excited. You know what I love about the stock? It's in a stealth bull market. Nobody knows about it. Nobody's talking about it on social media, on forums. Nobody knows about it. It's totally unknown. Nobody knows about it. It's under the radar. You know what that means? That means there's still plenty of buyers. You know what I hate to see? I hate to see these stocks where everybody's bullish on it, everybody's talking about it. To me, that means that all the buyers are already in the stock. There's no fresh buyers left. There's nobody to bid for it at higher prices. Everybody's in. In the case of Nova Mentis, that doesn't exist because very few people know about the stock. Very few people own it. That means there is massive, massive upside potential here. It's like it's like the trying to come up with a metaphor here. I'll come up with a metaphor. I'll give you the metaphor tomorrow. But yeah, this thing is super bullish. Nobody knows about it. It's already up triple, and the chart shows there is still plenty more to go. Look how much more to go there is. Look where it's been. I mean, and look at this green. You see these green lines here? This is the volume. This is the massive volume exploding. So I would not be surprised if this thing, makes a run to 50 cents. That's definitely, there's a runway for that. So if they get some data, 50 cents would only be, again, I'm going back to Jason's point about fundamentals. If the stock goes to 50 cents, that would just be the fundamental valuation based on comps in the biotech space for a company with, good phase 2 data that shows, possible commercialization. It's almost like one of these junior mining stocks, right? All they got to do is, drill a couple of holes and there's enough holes in the ground and get good assays that show that, yeah, you know what? There could be some commercial potential here. And you can have a stock go from, $1 million valuation, 2 million. That's what the piece of ground is worth to, 50 million, 100 million. Because, a production company can buy it and, spend the money and that's it. And they'll have, a couple billion in, that they're going to be pulling out. All right, guys. I think I have covered everything there is to cover with the stock for today. I will see you tomorrow. We got a live stream with Next Tech coming out tomorrow. I think there might be some interesting news tomorrow. That stock is actually pulled back a little bit here, and I think that could be a very good buying opportunity. Look at again, Next Tech, Champion DNA stock we introduced at 50 cents, went to 750 American. It's basically doubled off the bottom, so it's been holding up very strong. We're above the 50-day moving average of the 200. Excuse me, the 200. We're below the 50. We're above the 200, which is the big one. And this company has a lot of catalysts. We got the Apple AR glasses, a lot of stuff in the pipeline that could make this thing move. So anyway, join us tomorrow for the live stream with Next Tech, and let's see what happens with Nova Mentis, NMLSF. Go to Amazon.com, buy yourself 100 copies of TenBagger Blueprint, and give them out as Christmas gifts. Give them out to the homeless. Imagine all these homeless guys. Look, I tell you the best thing, the best charity is you don't want to give a guy money. You don't want to give a homeless guy money because, again, like it's better to teach a man how to fish rather than to give him a fish, right? People have known that for millennia, right? Same thing here. You don't want to give a homeless guy 50 cents or $1 or whatever it is. If you really care about them, if you really care about your fellow human beings, give them the TenBagger blueprint so they could learn how to become penny stocks billionaires, how to have 10x, 100x returns. These guys have money. Don't let these homeless guys fool you, especially the ones in California. They're getting money from the government. They're getting, I think, a couple of grand a month stipends. They could turn that money into millions of dollars. Look, we had a guy in Canada. This kid might have been homeless. I mean, he could have been homeless essentially living with his parents. It's basically being homeless, right? He turned $2 grand to over $1 million with our TenBagger. So it can happen. It'll be life changing. And one of these guys could become, the next, I don't know, Elon Musk, the next Einstein. He could have a cure for cancer, whatever. Great things can happen for civilization. Anyway, thank you for joining. I'll see you all on the next live stream.